connect.
Wow.
You.
Everybody said it was good except for you.
Muy problema.
So let's just make sure. Let's see how this looks. So we're having a debate about, let's see, about what our good side is. Angie believes this is her good side too. So when we take pictures together, we fight over this side.
But my question is what is a good side and what's a bad
So
side?
obviously the hair doesn't play a point with anything with me, but the difference is this eyebrow kind of does like a little different thing, whereas this one just goes straight down. So I have kind of like an uneven face.
Oh,
So it's like, I can't think of the actor's name. Let's see what. This
so
looks
I'm
like.
on my good side because I have no idea
See,
what
you
my
could totally.
good
Let me
or
see.
bad side
Let me
is.
see.
Oh,
Nah, it really doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't. Thank you.
So here we are.
Episode.
That's some strong cafe mate. What is that?
No sé porque
It's
I
I
took
can tell it's
whatever was in there.
It's that like almond
Muy bueno.
something good. He's gonna pretend he speaks Spanish, but he speaks like 4 words, and he doesn't know how to speak Spanish.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Exactly. ¿Dónde están mis pantalones? So here we are, yet again. It is such a joy being next to you again.
What episode are we?
10,
I like protocol, please.
108.
108. Okay.
108. So here's something interesting.
You like being next to me again?
No, I really don't.
Our watches hit each other.
Usually when we sit together, it's opposite.
Right.
Because I'm a righty and he's a lefty, so if we eat, it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
So
kind
this
of
is my bad side.
ambidextrous, so I could eat either way.
Yes, I'm not.
So what? So basically, here's what I want to talk about. There's multiple things I want to talk about, but we're totally just going ADD today, so might as well roll with it.
My favorite personality.
So something popped up. A video popped up on Facebook. One of the things I love most about Facebook is the time hop.
Yeah.
Right? And it showed the first time I did a video, an Urban Nest video, not inside the company, but when I decided to start going broadcasting out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was over 3 years ago. And it was something along the lines of, we normally do this just for our agents, and I did it by myself.
Yes.
Then I brought you in with the Dave and Dave show. You got some schmutz on your back. And here we are 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to call us like trendsetters, but now almost every brokerage has
Yes.
like a show,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. I think the more brokers get in front of their agents and in front of the marketplace is a good thing, because hopefully they're spreading the word and communicating more on the value of a realtor and what not to do and what to do. So that's number one.
I also think you could align when the brokers go in. I think you show who you align with, and you get the feeling of meeting them and seeing if you align with their values. So I agree with you.
I don't like the way my shirt looks at all.
Why? I don't even like that I could see the camera. I don't like hearing myself.
Well, on Zoom, you're looking right at yourself the entire time. The entire time.
I look at you instead. That's why my eyes are
Let's see if it
going.
looks better like this. No, that doesn't look good either.
It's your bad side of your shirt
Oh,
to go
man.
with the bad side of your face.
I
to go
usually
with the
have a
bad
dress
side.
shirt back here just in case. So that wasn't the point. The point is, a lot of agents, a lot of people have an issue making a stand, declaring to the world, getting on video, being real, talking about what's on their mind, and having the courage
Courage.
to actually get out there. He does it better than anybody. The courage to just kind of just say, 0 fucks given, I'm going, right? And I know you hate when I curse, but that's just me having the courage to be me, because that's something I would have said if we were just talking like this, right? So, but what they don't realize, and I'm taking a long time to get to this point.
You are. You're going to Russia, to China, or whatever.
No, you see, you can't even say my saying right. My point is this. when you see it look natural for us, or we're talking to the camera like we're talking to you, or we're just feeling comfortable, this didn't happen overnight. It took 3 years, 108 shows, both of us being
First time I was like this.
president of the association, when you had to be on live TV and things like that. Like it's reps, it's practice. Like you have to do it over and over and over again to get comfortable. And one of the things we teach here, and I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, is you have to be able to be comfortable on video. It was a requirement 3 years ago. It's even more so now. You're missing the boat. You're not communicating directly with your friends, your family, your clients, your people, unless you get comfortable on video.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to be sincere. You know, I've seen flubs and things that people, which we all laugh, because if we can't laugh, we die. But the sincerity of what you're saying is the secret of life.
I would argue, I kind of want to see how this looks. Very clear.
Very nice.
Very clear. Much
Very
clearer. Much clearer than Zoom.
Very nice. And we're back together again, and I
would,
can hug you.
I would argue that the less produced it is, the more it resonates with people.
It's real.
It's people get really whacked out on how they look on video, like what they do, and if they're heavy or.
I hate the feedback of my voice because it shows such a New York accent. So I don't listen to the.
And I here's the thing, that's the way you look. That's the way you sound.
Right.
That's who you are. So just get used to it. It's the truth.
So I gotta lose 20 pounds and go to
it is what it
a
is.
voice class so
but
I
you
could sing.
still show up to a listing appointment. You're still going to show up, and you may think you don't look and sound like that in person, but you do, and people love you anyway. Because the truth of the matter is this: they don't care. They're not judging you, maybe a little bit, but they're a bit more busy judging themselves. They're more worried about how they look and how they feel and what they're thinking, to even be giving you that energy.
And that's why the message is so important, because all the rest is caca.
Yeah, like I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, there's a ton of things that I would change in a heartbeat. So, it is what it is. Like, I'll never wear this shirt again to this Dave and Dave, like everything about it. Okay, so we have two main topics today.
I thought those were the topics.
Such an asshole. Not a COVID cough.
No,
That's a allergy cough.
we have our vaccines, and today on TV, for those of you who want it, I'm never forcing, they said that at Cashman you could pick the vaccine you want. So if you're in doubt, please go get
Look
one.
how clear my skin. It almost looks like I have Botox.
Oh,
It's so
beautiful
clear.
skin.
Yours not so much.
I had a two.
I can see you behind me,
though.
So, all right. So the major topics of this. I don't have my phone, obviously, because it's right here. But we're going to talk about. Usually, we do two topics. One is more about mindset, and the other is about the market. Maybe I should name it mindset and market and mindset, whatever.
Like, ebony and ivory.
So. Let's go into. You want to do the market first?
Yeah, let's do the market.
All right.
The market. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is what I said. The market had shit. It's supposed to be has officially. The market has officially tripled itself since 2012 with a median price of $354,000.
So when
Median's different than average.
right.
Median means the same amount above and below. Right.
And when I was president, it was like in 2013.
Yeah.
It was like 119. It
Yeah.
was
So it was that.
bad.
It was
so bad.
In 2012, it was 118.
Yeah, it was so bad.
And in 08, I think, or 07, it hit 315,
Right.
and it just crumbled.
And now we're soaring.
355. So if you do some quick math, 3 times 118 is 354.
Mhm.
And yeah. And I was thinking last night, before we get too much into the numbers, I was driving around, and now I could really empathize with people who either had COVID or wanted just to go out, there's not a lot of options. You know, like it's tough to get into restaurants; they're full.
I think that with 10% of the population inoculated, and vastly, the president just bought 1 million more doses
I saw that. Yep.
of J&J.
Now you're going. The saying is you're going to China to get to Mexico, and now you're going there.
I always like to go to China to get to Mexico.
You
So
barely
anyway,
make it to, you maybe make it to like Tucson.
Anyway, I think there's a feeling of freedom by getting the doses. Dave and I are sitting next to you. Of course, it's been 3 weeks today that we got our second dose, and we feel. And the CDC came
Has it
out.
been 3 weeks?
3 weeks. No, me, I'm the numbers guy. And the CDC has come out and said that I could hug my granddaughters, see my granddaughters, go with Dave and Angie anywhere I want. But basically, if a person is ill or has problems physically, those are the people we should still avoid. But other than that, we're pretty free.
If I didn't have gray hair in my beard, I would look 25 years old. You see how clear my skin looks right now?
Well,
There's very few. I mean, maybe a little bit there.
you got to realize
I got a
that
couple
you
of
have good
wrinkles.
genes. Me at 60, look at how nice I look.
So the whole point of why I wanted to bring that up, so I let you go off, is the city's busy.
It is. I
is
have been
super
going
busy.
out, and I got turned away 2 nights ago from Fleming's,
Yeah,
and they said no. I
Okay.
want to.
turned away last night.
And I find the choices of restaurants. So if I owned a restaurant right now, I would be doing, which you and I did, or I did when you were a child. I would be doing specials.
Specials.
Don't make fun of my New
I'll
York.
be doing specials,
So
even
get-
though you can only have 35% of the people in the restaurant.
Next week's going to 50.
Still not enough. It's not going to be enough, and because you know what happens when you're at 35%, they do 50, and when you're at 50, they go to 65. No one gives a shit.
And the
So-
reality is, with the shots going in the arms, I believe we'll be back to 100%.
But back to my original point. Keep going down to the thing. I could care less about talking about the vaccine. What I'm talking about is before the pandemic, the conversation that I was having continually was Vegas was on the precipice of becoming a tier 1 city. What I mean by tier 1 city is we have sports teams, we have the downtown, we have a population over 2 million. You know, it becomes that. You know, you have the tier 1 like the top 5 like LA, New York, Miami, like that. But then you have the Denvers, the Phoenixes, and I didn't believe Vegas was there yet.
We
And we
think
are
of
now.
when you came in '95, and I flew in with you from New York, and I said, "Oh my God, this is
Yeah.
a small city, right?"
It was definitely a small city. Now, just going to Target on Charleston, it was like it reminded me of a little bit of New York. There was no spots. People were freaking beeping each other. Like I was like, man, it feels kind of a little city-ish.
A little like home.
I felt a little tight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if major cities, you need reservations at restaurants. And I'm not talking about the Strip. I'm talking about off the Strip, right? You need reservations in Long Island or in Queens. I mean, obviously you need reservations in Manhattan. Obviously you would need reservations at Carbone or something in Aria. But now it's like it's getting a little tight because I think I'd be so interested to see how much our population has swelled.
You know, a lot of people. I read Facebook a lot, and you make fun of me, but
Director of Facebook Operations.
um,
Facebook Marketing and Operations.
a lot of people are thinking of retiring, and they're talking about different cities out of the state. You know, and I respect all of that, but for everyone moving out, we have 10 moving in. So your point is valid.
Is that you pulling that out of your ass? Or
Yeah,
you
no,
really-
that's me right out
Okay.
of my ass.
Okay.
But you
Because
think of the
it
sales.
felt like one of those like bar room.
It is.
1 to 10.
Yeah.
I don't believe we're netting 9 people, 90%.
I think we're going to have a population explosion.
You don't think? I've been in California. You can't do anything there.
No, I don't.
You don't think that people are going to run back to California?
No,
Interesting. Okay.
no, because you buy a shack in California.
A shack.
I mean a
A
shack.
shack.
2-bedroom,
Specials.
1 bath, shit shack
Shack.
for $800,000. Here, you still, even with the median price at $355, you still buy for $800,000.
Yeah, but Summerlin is no longer $355.
No, I didn't
So if
say
you're coming
so.
from California, you still though can get a gorgeous home for $650.
Oh.
Gorgeous
Gorgeous
home
home.
for $650. I mean,
Mhm.
listen, we had friends who came. This is before the numbers really went crazy. Their house in Santa Monica is probably worth 1.2 that decided to rent, and it was a townhome with like no yard. And here they started with like, oh, we just get something nice. It doesn't have to have a yard. For $1 million, we're happy. Well, for 800, they were in one of the most gorgeous communities in the Paseos, right by Fox Hill Park and Vasiliadis.
More.
They probably made $100,000 already if they
If
wanted
not
to.
more.
You could probably sell it for like $1 million.
But understand this.
But that's actually interesting.
Right.
Now they would, all things being equal, I think they'd rather live in the Paseos in a 3,400 square foot 2-story Lennar
Then that's-
versus
that's
Santa
right.
Monica and being just completely like this type.
Yeah.
But if it goes up too high, then people stay in Santa Monica.
True,
Right.
but it's proportionally going up in California, and this is this is what's going on. The market, the interest rates went up a little bit, and people are starting to pull back. Don't pull back. Look at the price. Look at your mortgage payment, and judge where you want to be and what you want to do.
Or if you're a buyer, that's that little window of opportunity where the prices go up a little bit, or excuse me, the rates go up a little bit. People hesitate. You don't. You go.
You get the house.
You need a little plateau, a little window to jump.
You know, it's a funny thing. They're talking because some of the rates are up to 3.25.
You're making me burp like crazy.
Well, I'm drinking coffee and I'm not burping. Oh, just special father and son there. He blew his burp towards my mouth. Thank God I have my COVID
like
shot.
you got me so frustrated last time. I'm in such an obnoxious mood because I just want to bust your balls the entire time.
And I could take it like I could take it.
Oh my god.
But I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about, you fool?
California, Santa Monica.
Oh,
if it goes
okay.
up too high,
So-
then rates having the
Right,
window of
but
opportunity.
3.25 is still ridiculously low, and you need to know the monthly payment. But to get back to that, I believe our city, and they're calling us the Roaring 20s now, so you know terminology. I believe what you said. I am dying to go to
I
Circa.
want to get up a little bit.
I'm dying to go to. You like to be bigger than
Go
me.
up, come on.
I'm dying to go to Circa and see.
Barry's. Go up, come on. You know there's a Jewish deli in there called Saginaw's?
I read all about it.
That is supposedly
I
like
want a
legit.
pastrami on club with tons of mustard.
And they have like lox sandwiches. And so I was reading, I think you were reading John Curtis's thing?
Yeah.
John Curtis, little shout out. A little curmudgeon, but super interesting.
John
I
Curtis
love him.
entertains
Me
me.
too. So that's
And
totally
let's-
random.
yeah.
So wait. He did a thing about the 3 major restaurants in there. The Asian one that supposedly has all different types of Chinese, Thai, like he fuses it all together. He said it was amazing. He did the one about Saginaw's, which are good Jewish deli. Like, listen, if you're from the East Coast or even California or Chicago, you know a great Jewish deli.
Pastrami
Like, just
on
fantastic.
club with mustard.
But I want to go to Barry's. I want to do it all out. I want to get dressed. I want to take Angie out, a couple of friends. I want to do the whole thing at Barry's.
I'm ready to watch the girls again.
I don't need you, but what were we going to say about John and what were the...
What I was going to say about John Curtis is you talk about video, and he's a little edgy. But you know what? A little edgy could be entertaining. Sometimes just hearing what you want to hear isn't the key to life. Sometimes you got to hear what needs to be said. And I think that you and I do that a lot. I think...
No, it's about willingness. Listen, there's
Yeah.
a book called Crucial Conversations. And the whole book, and this is where I like that you're actually coming at, because sometimes you're coming with this, because don't be a little bit of a hypocrite with this. I get to see him being real. There's no filter with Pops when him and I are on the phone. He gives you a little bit of the filter. Basically, me being a pain in the ass is him without a filter. So if you think like I am the edgy Dave and he's the nice Dave, the truth is he's also the edgy Dave. He's just bullshitting you.
No, I mellowed with age.
Yeah, okay.
Now that I turned
Okay.
60,
Yeah,
I realize, and you're turning
True, no,
35.
that's fair.
I realize
It's
that
fair.
I don't. But everyone knows how I feel.
But in the crucial conversations, dude, it's the willingness to collide, and not even in an angry way. Just challenge each other in a respectful way.
And when you're done with it, even if we go to politics, I agree to disagree with a lot of my friends,
You know,
but understand they're still my friends.
with love and respect, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, if we all thought the same, or we had where they're going to reproduce babies by a gene pool, how boring would we be?
Yeah, I mean that's the whole argument on
Yeah.
cloning.
Yeah.
I think if cloning becomes a thing where you can actually pull out certain genes, like if a family's known for large noses or losing their hair, and the next thing you know, we're all
Maybe
gonna
they
listen.
want all my genes. 'Cause
Yeah, I'm
this is
sure they're in line.
This is
I'm
perfection.
sure they're in line.
I made you. You better not knock. You're knocking yourself.
I give you know what? I take it back. When Angie and I talk about like
Mhm.
aging,
Mhm.
I'm like, well, if that's 68 going on 69,
Wait a minute.
I'll take it.
60. Yeah.
But now you made me lose my train of thought. So
See?
anyway,
Senile too.
those 3 restaurants, circa, doing the whole thing. But back to tier 1.
Mhm.
We've been out of kind of circulation for a little bit.
Ooh.
A lot of people have.
Phones, all
And-
phone and video.
And people, I don't think we realize how busy and how close we are there. And this isn't even the beginning of it. I'll go back to the tsunami effect. I think Vegas is going to be so busy this summer. It's going to be intense because they're opening the pools. They're going to open the clubs, and there's
They have-
pent up demand.
They have
for weddings,
conventions.
you name
The
it.
shows are opening up again.
Yeah.
You know, and do it safe, do it smart. If you're gonna be out there, if you had COVID,
You get
you're
the shot.
safe.
You don't need any protection.
I know. They had a. I'm not gonna. They had a cartoon on
I
it
can
today.
only
Did you
imagine.
see it?
No, but
Well,
I've been using that
yeah.
metaphor
Yeah.
the entire time.
Well, they did, and,
Yes.
and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear 2 masks.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So let's talk
that's
about.
let's go with the numbers though, real quick.
Yeah, I was just
So
gonna say.
the
go back.
355, it still hasn't hit threshold yet because of the people who are coming in. So when I was president in 2017, CNN Money reached out to George, and he's the PR guy for.
He had glasses on today in the
I saw.
video. We all age.
And the article was how affordable it was to live in Las Vegas for first-time home buyers. Now, during that time, the prices were going really high. I had a very low 1 month supply in 2017. I don't know if you remember. And George was like, "Can we do this interview?" And I said, "Yeah, George. You're looking at it from people who live here didn't think it was affordable for first-time home buyers, but compared to the rest of the country, it was a steal. Now, it may not be a steal for first-time home buyers anymore here. It's still, to me, relatively speaking, cheaper, affordable.
Because you have to realize where we're living.
But let me
We're
get to
not-
my full point.
Go ahead. We're not in Neverland.
The people spilling into us
Mhm.
are coming from expensive places.
Right.
Still. And that's
Well-
one of the reasons why they're coming.
For people that don't know that we're on here, over 60% of our buyers are from Southern California or California. Everyone that speaks to Dave and Georgia and Jen and I say, my buyer's from California, my buyer's from California. So it is quite the deal to get a house here and compared to California. Now I'm looking to buy...
Still versus Long Island, it's super, super affordable versus not where you raised me. I'm talking about
Here's the problem
real
with Long
on
Island.
the coast.
I believe that the prices of the middle of the island are of Suffolk County, where we're from,
that's not.
is equal, but their taxes, their real estate taxes,
Yeah, but that.
$20,000, $30,000.
No offense to where we came from. You can't. Vegas is a much nicer place to live than where we came from.
Yeah,
It's not. Whereas these other places, I'm not saying I want to go back to the cold, but like Nassau County, it could be a little bit nicer than where we are.
It is. You only saw the.
Southern California, the coast is nicer if you're factoring in the coast.
You saw the firefighter trying to get out there and get a house, first time home buyer.
From 9 years old, I wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
I wanted to move to Miami.
Miami. He used to
I
say, "Daddy,
this
I
whole
want to go to
friggin' town's
Miami."
gone to sleep at 8 o'clock.
But then we got a multiplex theater, and it closed.
Yeah. So we're still dealing with it. You still got a 0.6 month supply, which is probably like 17 days supply. Still multiple offers, but I do believe that we're going to see a softening of the stock market, Bitcoin, and the housing market.
I agree with all those.
Across the board. And I don't know if it's going to be this plateau and up, or if it's going to be this plateau and a little dip. We shall see. But the plateau is there. And what he was saying is, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. It's kind of like with Urban S, we always joke, like, you don't really get the experience until you're here. We can market the shit out of you. Until you're here, you don't know, right? Same thing with rates. You think that maybe 3.25 is high because you're comparing it to 2.5.
And a year from now, maybe 5.5.
Maybe 4.5, 5, and you're kicking yourself in the face, going, yeah, I could get a better deal on a house, but I can't get the same rate. I can't afford as
I'm
much.
going to put in a little for the naysayers out there that say this
The
market,
naysayers?
yeah, this market is crazy and I'm not going to buy now. I have a solution for you. Not the people that want to own a home and know they have to own a home. Go and buy a house at the 3.25 rate. It may dip down again, but don't pay over
I don't think it's
appraisal.
going to go into 3 again.
I don't either. I don't either. And you got a great refi.
I'm signing my refi today at 4.
Yeah,
We're
you got a great.
2.88 on a jumbo.
Yeah.
Thank you. A little shout out to Nikki Pecoraro over at City National. If you need a jumbo loan, their rates and their programs are fantastic.
Nikki is in West Charleston, right next to Red Rock Casino.
The City National Arena and then the City National Banks, right there.
And next to WeWorks. But a great friend and a very smart woman. Now, that being said, what I'm saying is if you're afraid of the market, don't pay over appraisal if you're a naysayer. If you're saying I'm not paying a nickel more than it's worth, go with your appraisal, but get in. Don't sit on the sidelines for waiting it to get better, because as Dave said, here's the good part. Next month it'll be 44 years for me licensed. Dave is over 20.
20 this year.
We watch.
I get my pin at GLVAR at the Las Vegas Realtor, and I got in trouble because I jokingly said this should be a retirement.
So what I'm saying is, at 3.25, pay the appraisal price. Then, if you're afraid of an inflated price, pay what the appraiser says it's worth. But don't get out of the market. Don't be afraid to jump in the market and wait 6 months where the prices get even higher and the interest rate gets higher. Jump in.
I don't think Denise knows how to watch a Facebook Live.
Who's Denise?
Yeah, she just keeps watching. It's like 50 times.
Oh,
It's like, hello.
she's an accountant.
Ivy got a 2.25 on a VA. Even better.
Ooh, Ivy.
Listen, his point is this. Real estate is almost never a bad deal. It's when you're greedy you get in trouble. The people who got in trouble in 2005, they bought too many houses.
Never again.
Not only that, they bought too many houses.
And they had, remember the loans?
It was 0% down.
And what about the 120% ones?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they
Giving you money
got
back.
greedy. You're greedy. I mean, you did fine.
I
Put
did
enough
fine.
money down. You're not going to get hurt. You can afford your mortgage. That's one. It's probably one of the safest way for the average person to gain equity by paying off their mortgage and also gain appreciation over time. But you gotta go. It's a long-term play. In a world of like one click, you actually have to wait, right?
And-
So what
and-
I was.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. So, if you look at institutional wealth, what? She's still doing it? Yeah, like 50 times. If you look at institutional wealth, right? It's people who own real estate. And I always say, easy come, easy go. If you're a gambler and you're willing to lose all the money and you make big money, you're going to lose it again. And it's just because that mentality, I'm not saying you need to grind it out. That's his generation, right? If we don't do it the hard way, we don't earn it, right? And the new generation, unfortunately, they just want to drop ship. They want to Bitcoin it. They want to be overnight millionaires. It's a mix. It's hard work and having strategic risk.
When I asked people in 13 and 14 why they weren't buying homes, they said, because how do I know the market's going to go up? I wish I had 100 homes.
Why do you think I'm in cash right now? Everyone thinks I'm nuts. All you hear is, you get money in the bank, you're going to lose money, lose opportunity. It's like, well, that's interesting. When everything goes on sale, from businesses to homes, I'm going to be the king. Because the cash I have versus extrapolating it out because I'm going to be able to leverage it, it's like I'm going to go on a spending spree.
I know.
And listen, I'm not saying that to not spend money now, but because I will buy a house if it's a good deal right now.
And the point I'm making
It's finite inventory. There's more demand than there's supply, and I believe that's going to be at least for the next decade.
And what I'm making is, you're talking about an investment home. I'm talking about a primary home. If you're waiting now, buy your primary home. We don't have a ton of people saying, oh, I want to buy it for investment because it's the highest price. But if you're looking to buy your primary home, you're never going to get this interest rate again. You're never going to get what's going on again. If the price goes up a little, down a little, you have that payment, you could afford it, go with it.
Or buy now, work your ass off, keep making a lot of money and saving. Buy when it's up, buy when it's down, dollar cost average homes. Buy always. Buy a house a year for the rest of your life.
You'd be a rich man.
You would. But
or you
guess
could
what?
retire on 30 rentals and be able to go all over the world.
But you're probably not going to have, maybe you don't have a Louis Vuitton bag, or maybe you don't get the really expensive car. Like, you got to be disciplined. Like, that's just the way you win. People don't lose because of decisions they make buying real estate. They lose because of all the other dumb decisions. Like, for instance, I'm done with freaking DoorDash. No offense, and I don't want to get in trouble. But it's extra like $10, $15, $20 sometimes. Drives me insane.
I've never done it, so I don't know.
It's freaking ridiculous.
I drive to it and pick it up.
Okay, so how far are we in here? Oh, right on time. Okay. So, this is interesting, Pops. I was at California this weekend, and Angie had a Tony Robbins event online. Unfortunately, we had to miss it because the same weekend of an event we really wanted to go to. Our friends were getting married, and so we were like, all right, obviously we're going to miss it. But we still were able to listen to it in between, just some downtime, getting on the plane and whatnot. And the majority of what Tony Robbins has ever talked about, his events, I've done my time. Like, I have many mentors. I'm always seeking more knowledge, a way to level up and go. So what he says, I rarely, I can almost finish his sentences.
Right, because you know him.
I know his theories. He, a great trainer, mentor, coach stays on message. He may add in stuff. But he made this comment. He said, the secret to life is, right? And in my brain, what, I left you hanging too?
No, I'm curious to see what the answer is to you.
So I was like, man, where is he going to go with this? I actually can't remember what it is.
Right.
And, he has a saying, the secret to living is giving, but that's not what it is. And I was like, where is he going to go with this? And he finally said, the secret to life is to raise your standards. And it threw me off because I don't remember him saying it. But then he started explaining it. And he means by raising your standards is if you raise your standards in your relationship, you're going to have a better relationship. If you raise your standards for yourself as your body, you're going to have a better body. If you raise the expectations and the standards on your business, you're going to have a better business. It's literally doubling down, and it's basically
That's a
commitment to expansion and growth, right? Which you're either growing or dying. And I was thinking about it. I started texting Danny because poor Danny, when I get crazy thought, and I was like, that's kind of what we did here, right? So we're continually raising our standards here, and it's tough. It's difficult to raise your standards when you're successful because it's easier when your back's against the wall.
Agreed.
Because when your back's against the wall, you literally have nothing to lose, right? So raising your standards is basically just going for it when you either don't have anything or you're going the other direction. Like, for instance, if your wife or husband says, I'm leaving you, it's easy to raise your standards there. If your doctor says, you know what, like, you're going to go on pills for the rest of your life or you may lose your foot, it's easy to raise your standards there. But it's very difficult to do it
when everything's going well.
and I would argue, and he didn't say this, but I would argue that's exactly when you need to commit to raising your standards. And it's a difficult conversation in real estate, whether you're a real estate agent or whether you're an owner of a company. So let's unpack this. Let's go from owners of a company standpoint. Still, everyone thinks we're insane for capping our company at 500 agents. They're like, how are you going to grow, right? It's so easy to be like, listen, our agents are doing well, we're doing well, and depending upon the month, we're fourth in volume, we're fourth in...
Well, they have to understand, we're going to grow at 500, just not on numbers of agents, but numbers of transactions. That's where we're looking for growth.
Well, so that's when we said, okay, how do we raise our standards and how do we grow? And the conversation was, when I was president, I kept seeing a reoccurring theme in our industry. And the theme was, first there's this danger report that NAR did, which could have been one of the most innovative things they've ever done. They hired an outside company, and it came to the conclusion that the biggest threat to the real estate industry is not Zillow, it's not attorneys, it's not instant offers, it's none of that. It's actual agents themselves, right? Which I believe was one of the most honest and vulnerable and raw and real ways you could describe it. And
They were very innovative on that report.
And then everyone ignored it.
Right.
And I said all the issues from a local and state and national level is the fact that it's difficult to raise your standards when you are so focused on the growth of just the size of the membership rather than the growth of the individual member.
Right.
And that was the difference. And I would get into wars in because I get pushed back. We're in the membership business.
Right.
We need to keep our numbers up. More realtors, more dues, more lobbying, more dues, more services. That was the thing. And I said, no, less agents, charging more, because then we have a bigger pot. We can invest more into each agent. Because it's tough to invest. And we would basically be working towards the lowest common denominator.
Right. And even now when we look at numbers, we'll see an agent's number and go, wow, she's a superstar. Not that she's doing dirty work, not that she's helping anyone, but numbers judge her a superstar. And then
Yes.
you may have someone doing 12 that's giving back to the community, that's helping. Though there has to be more in life than numbers.
Yes. So even in our managers' meetings, we have probably let go of, listen, we're a big company. We have about 465 to 475 agents on any given week, right almost at that 500. And I don't know of another company that has asked an agent that is miserable and unhappy and bringing no value to anyone and just everyone runs for the hills, but yet she does 35 deals. And I was adamant about asking her to leave the company and saying, you're no longer welcome here. And most brokerages, and I'm telling you brokerages out there, I know it's hard, but long term they're hurting your company. They're a cancer to your company. And it's hard to let them walk away. Now, you don't just do it. You give them the chance to rise up. Like, listen, you coach them. But if they don't, they don't.
But the interesting...
I'd rather have 5 agents doing 7 deals than one doing 35 that's just not happy.
The interesting point that you're not talking about is the brokers never ask us, that take them, never call us and say, why? Why would you?
Well, I won't out any brokers because I'm gonna respect their
I'm
privacy.
not giving
But
you a
I've
name
called the brokers and been like, listen, the last time I let someone go and you got a lawsuit with this agent, you said to me, why didn't you tell me they were coming? This time, I'm telling you, they're both coming to your company.
either. And they still took them.
So I took them. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not trying to be self-righteous. I'm not trying to, my shit doesn't stink or his doesn't. But hopefully when you hear it, when people say Urban Nest, quality company, I love working with your agents, Dave and Dave are fair, honest men, even if we don't get along, or there's still a respect that we're going to do the right thing. It's the number one value of who we are as individuals and who we are as a company. And that is raising your standards. So back to the original point, I'm fighting this fight on a local, state, and national level, to the point where I was ready to run for president of the state. I was going to probably win in a landslide, right? We could agree. I had all the votes.
Yeah, you had all of us.
I was on the fast track to NAR, the whole nine,
Oh, they loved you.
and I walked away because I was like, you know what? They're not walking the walk. No, they're not committing. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some outliers, and you guys know who you are out there, and I love you for fighting the fight, right? But I said, maybe I'm the hypocrite. We need to do this at our company first. And we were already doing it. We could have been at 1,000 agents already. We could have been exactly like the company we came from.
Right.
And we didn't want to be, we don't want to become what we left, right? And nothing against them. They want to do it that way, it's all their right. But we said, no, less is more. We could do more with less agents because you can't just chase the money, Pop. And I was writing Hall of Fame cards. A little shout out. Our number one, we have a thing called Hall of Fame at Urban Nest. They gave me the Hall of Fame before I left, right, for the GLVR. But Hall of Fame for Urban Nest is someone who's been with us for 5 years, is a producing agent, and is involved in their community or in the industry. Mm-hmm. But the number one thing that is very hard to quantify is they exemplify who we are and what we stand for.
Yep.
Right?
And this year we gave it to.
So the first one, you want to say the first one?
First one was our buddy and best friend Eileen
The
Pettendale.
number one, first agent ever joined Urban Nest.
Right, blind. We didn't even have a door open,
Yeah.
and our licenses got processed, and she joined. And she is still a productive, honorable, great friend. I call her my friend.
And she's such a quality person.
Right.
This year we had kind of
Two.
but one's
One's a team.
One was Faith Harmer, who's been with us now for 7 years.
No, stronger, more ethical, do the right thing. Real estate is my business and my life.
And we watched her entire journey.
Yep.
From a single agent to having a part-time assistant, to having multiple agents, to having multiple assistants, to having now a full business within a business, and doing 100 transactions a year. But even more so, quality person that has become an amazing friend of ours.
In our 9 years, and I think she's been here 7, I have never had someone call and complain about Faith.
No.
That's quite an accomplishment.
And then the other two are literally our family as well.
Heart and soul.
Azim and Sarah Jessa, they've been here from almost day one. I looked it up. Azim was here, and then Sarah finished up the deals.
And came. You talk about walk the walk and talk the talk in their life and in real estate. These two, there is no other couple that live to do the right thing in real estate.
In their faith, in their marriage, with their children.
Yeah.
The way they do business, all relationship based. Stepping up, raising your standards. Both of Azim and Sarah and Faith and Eileen, it's all about raising your standards.
Right.
But I found myself, when I start, you know how much I love writing these personal cards, right? And I never really know what I'm going to write. I kind of just let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed, I say this all the time at a top producer award or a Christmas party or a holiday party, whatever we have, and it always comes back down to the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most unanticipated thing for me back in 2012. Right? Because when you're opening a business, you want to make money, you're taking huge risk. It's really financially motivated and you're financially driven.
Right.
And you don't realize that the purpose becomes, because in the Landmark Cafe, I remember the people and the parties and the relationships and people we're still friends with on Facebook and social media.
The restaurant we owned, he's talking about.
Exactly. And that was a 10-year journey, right?
Yeah.
And what I was saying in both,
You were just a little boy.
I was 9, and then till I graduated high school. I was saying in both of these cards was how them being a part of our lives
Mm-hmm.
is the most meaningful part of it, of this journey.
And to give you an idea of what Azim and Sarah call me, my name to Azim and Sarah is Papa Dave.
Papa Dave.
That's what they call me, and that's how they feel with me. And I never loved the feeling them being called Papa Dave by the two of them, because I know what it means to them.
So we talk about raising your standards, right? So our three values, you're gonna hear them a million times. Do the right thing, do the work, and level up. Well, level up is basically raise your standards, right? Continually raise your standards. That's doubling
We're aligned
down on yourself.
again with Tony Robbins on that.
Of course, and that's, or you could say it's
Only we said it first.
becoming a better. No, I'm sure. Becoming a better. Is my phone just calling?
It's going crazy today.
Really? Who's calling me?
Just text messages, everything's crazy.
Really?
Yes.
Man, I gotta put that. This was something that did not happen on Zoom. So that's why we're always saying, we're not saying Urban Nest is a place for you. It may be, it may not. There are some quality brokerages in Las Vegas, around the country, but unfortunately they're the exception and not the rule. Because what we hear so often when people leave for various reasons, whether they're leaving for leads or they want to try something different, listen, people leave, they come and they go. We hug them on the way out, and listen.
And we hug them on the way in.
We hug them on the way back in. And when I talk about letting people go, that's maybe 3 or 4 a year, right? That's not something.
It's an ethical issue.
But most of the time when people leave, we're like, listen, we don't think it's the right decision. And then they get a little wishy-washy about leaving, and you try to save them, and I'm like, no, go try it. You have to try it now. Because you, as the old sage, are like, it's not going to work, you're going to get set back.
But I let them go now. I've learned.
And I tell them, you got to walk this path. We'll still be here, right?
Right.
And then when they come back, the feedback is the most interesting. Because you got to ask, even when you lose a listing, I would be on the phone asking why. Be willing to hear the feedback of what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right. Because the feedback may be like, you know what, I'm glad I lost that listing because I didn't want to be that person. I lost it because I'm not willing to cut my commission that much. I raised my standard. I'm not willing to work with this person, right? But when they come back, they always say the same thing. And it's always about the relationships and the people.
Right.
Right? And Georgia and Jennifer, they're like that just naturally. That's why we hired them. But I believe being in our ecosystem, they've had the environment and the permission to even be more of that. Less hire, close, and more be there for the people.
So I'm not going to say what recruiter called, and they called me and they said, "Oh, I'm interested in you coming to blah 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 blah." And I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Thank you so much. I appreciate the call. I'm not going to be mean." And I said, "I'm the owner broker with my son of Urban Nest Realty." And she said, "Oh my God, you have the most loyal agents. I can't get an interview with any of them because they love where they are." And that made me so happy.
Well,
and I know there's no monetary value to that. But for them to say they don't even want an interview because they're so happy where they are, it shows you what broker support, what.
Well, even just recently, we let this lead gen company come in that we've been holding off for a while. Whereas, listen, online leads, they have a spot that's supposed to be supplemental, complementary to your business. As long as they're prioritized correctly, you can leverage them correctly. But unfortunately, most people put them as the number one thing. They run around with their heads cut off. Anyway, we let them come in, and what they said to us is, "I've never seen more agents sign up, go all in. The the rapidness of which they pick up their phone is like 23 seconds
I know.
versus the 2.4 minute average. And I was like, even though I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we brought them in, I know there's opportunity for our agents.
One agent I was talking to yesterday is working on a
We
half.
closed one today. Yeah.
Oh, one is a $500,000 buyer, and one is a $400,000 buyer that she got, and she's thrilled with it.
Listen, you attract what you are. But also there's an extension to that. You attract what you're ready for. So you may not be ready for us, right? When you are, that's where we are. But the conversation is going back to continually raise your standards and your expectations on yourself and what you're capable of. And the whole thing about standards are, and this is kind of a new way of looking at something that I've looked at multiple times, standards are almost like commitments or goals, right? So if you raise your standards, you have to raise your commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is you raise your standard first. You're not ready for that standard, maybe. You're not that standard, but then you have to become it. So the thing I was texting Danny was, like, we keep raising our standards at our company, and I'm like, it requires us to become that standard. We have to start acting like that standard in order to become that standard.
Right. I
Right.
agree.
So,
And that goes all through life. I had your daughters this weekend, and I'm listening to them, and they're saying, Daddy this, and Daddy told me that, and I was saying to myself, God, he's just raising his daughters the way I raised him. It was listening to it, now that they're, old.
we had a great conversation last night. We were at Hearthstone, and Ella was being like a little, Ella, like she could sometimes be overzealous, a little obnoxious.
Like
And
me.
I was saying, we were talking about reading the room, being aware of your surroundings, and knowing your audience, right? And having this high-level conversation. Now Lola's sitting there, her fingers in her mouth as usual, right, sucking on her fingers, and she like pulls them out for a second. She goes, "Yeah, Ella, you could tell that girl was shy. All you had to do was come, right?" So we're having these next-level conversations, but I've raised the standard for them. I talk to them like they're adults, which you've done to me, right, with me. People.
I still speak to you like you're an adult.
Yeah.
I got you.
The son becomes the father. That's what happens. The apprentice becomes the master. You're such a pain in the ass. So those are our two things. That's where we're at. And what do you think? We'll leave it at this. Where do you think the market is going to go? What do you think is going to happen if you had to predict? It doesn't even matter.
My prediction, it's still going to go roaring until the interest rates go a little higher. And then when the interest rate goes higher, I don't think it's going to crash, but I don't think it'll be the crazies of today. I'll take a house, just a house, get me a house. That's my prediction.
I was listening to something yesterday, and I thought it was super interesting. You're saying that there is this unbridled optimism when you can lend money at super cheap, right? So what happens is you have these companies that are publicly traded that don't have to make income. They're in the red for so long, like Amazon was.
Right.
Because the money's so cheap and you can fund it. So there's enough space for that disruption phase, which is kind of unfair for small businesses. Because we have to make money every single month because we live in a real world where we're not in perpetual raising funds and raising capital. And they said when the cost of money goes up, these companies have less room. And what happens is the angel investors and the lenders are expecting better results because the cost of money goes up. So the speculation goes down.
Right.
Then you see the money get pulled out of the stock market, and you see, like we saw the dot-com bubble and things like that. Most of you watching, if not all, can benefit from a more level and even playing field where these big competitors don't have the luxury of going out there and being a loss leader every single month and year. Most of you got to pay the bills every month. There's not someone going, oh, we'll invest in you until you turn a profit down the line. So when that does change, while you'll hear the politicians, listen, if the politicians can agree on anything, is they want the big businesses to win because that's who lines the pocket, right? I think that's a bipartisan thought from all of us. But the little guy, and the little guy isn't just the guy making $10 an hour. The little guy, believe it or not, is even the guy making $500,000 a year. I know it sounds insane, but it is.
Right.
It really is. So it can benefit you. So, listen, you may not feel like you're as rich or wealthy if your stocks and your Bitcoin and your house isn't as successful. But if you are trying to compete as a small business owner, an entrepreneur, or just in general in the marketplace, it's okay if there's a plateau.
I
Is that
agree.
too? Is that too next level?
No, it's great.
All right, party shot.
My parting shot is gonna be, we sat home for a year, a lot of us. The city closed down, it's reopened. Enjoy life while you can, and
So basically, you don't have a parting shot.
yeah, I do. Enjoy life, go back out into society and have some fun.
Enjoy life. That's
Hey,
the
a lot of
Confucius.
us were
Confucius
closed
of the
down.
day.
A lot of us were closed
No,
down.
I can understand.
It relates to what we were.
Well, my stuff hasn't uploaded, but I'll leave you just with raise your standards in every area of your life. Make the jump and go for it because really you got nothing to lose. And the only thing you do have to lose is if you don't raise your standards. Because if you don't, someone's going to raise them for you and it's going to be more painful. So double down on you and go for it. All right.
Bye.